We take it up. Let's lose control. We turn it up. And let the good times roll.
Hi everyone, I'm Tom Hannifan, and welcome to Outside the Ropes, and I am joined by the reigning Knockouts World Champion. It is Jordynne Grace. Jordynne, it's been a pretty fascinating handful of weeks and months for you leading up to Slammiversary. Now that you have a chance to kind of sit back and review everything that you've accomplished. Slammiversary, let's start there. The first ever Queen of the Mountain match. You win that matchup and you become Knockouts World Champion. Walk me through that day.
Oh my God, it was so stressful, to be honest with you. I mean, I felt completely prepared because I watched actually all 12 of the last King of the Mountain matches, and I had completely actually forgot that was a match stipulation. And when they said it, I was like, wow, I need to learn all the rules now.
And there's a lot of them.
Yeah, so like the Ultimate X match that we did, or that one, it was more physical preparation, because there's not a lot of rules to remember, obviously. You just gotta be hanging from the ropes for a long time. But this Queen of the Mountain match, you have to learn all the rules.
And there's the penalty box, there's the timing, okay, you're eligible, you're not eligible. And then, oh, by the way, you've got 4 other competitors in there. There's the crazy moment with Mia Yim launching Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo to the ringside, and then you're there in the rubble being like, okay, now I can take advantage of this.
And that was so scary. And when I saw it, I was like, dang. That's got to be like the best thing of the year, right? Like it's got to be voted like
awesome.
#1, right?
I'm just glad I wasn't Chelsea or Deonna in that moment.
They survived, right?
They survived, yeah, that's the important part. What I loved that night is you came out and you had this jacket that said, I write history. And it's something that, so you've had these great opportunities to write history. And it wasn't just Queen of the Mountain. This has kind of been your MO, not just your time in Impact, but your entire time in professional wrestling. Why do you think it is you just kind of find yourself in these situations?
I could not tell you, to be honest with you. I want to say that it's, due to hard work, but I also think it's a lot of right place at the right time. I think that has a lot to do with it. I had the opportunity to beat Taya, who was the longest reigning Knockouts champion, so I feel like that was kind of the first history I ever
Monumental.
made. Yeah, huge thing. Then we did me and Deonna, the first ever Iron Woman match, the first ever Digital Media Champion, and then we did the Dot Combat match, which I think they did one
You just did at the countdown to Against All Odds.
Yes.
Cardona and Myers are claiming is the brainchild of Cardona. Do you have any sort of argument for
I
that?
honestly have no idea. I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that.
You bought all the cell phones for that.
I did buy all the cell phones for that. I spent my own money to buy those cell phones because I was like, no, we got to have something different. Let's get something like, we can use cell phones like thumbtacks.
It was really funny.
And I also bought that DVD player.
Wait, so walk me through buying all those phones, because they're the old like Nokia flip phones and like sidekicks and stuff.
So if you guys didn't know this, you can actually go on eBay and apparently bulk buy these phones. They take, most of the time they take the batteries out and they have like missing backs and cracked screens and stuff. But you can buy like 100 of these old school phones for like, what, $200? And so that's what I did.
So you're taking part in that, but like even before these opportunities at Impact that you just talked about, you just stood out. And I think about the event All In. You're the only woman in that battle royal.
Yeah, that was definitely the turning point in my career for sure.
What do you think led to that?
I've been doing intergender wrestling since I was literally 14 years old, and so. When I met Cody, I actually met him when him and Brandy Rhodes had first got released from WWE, and I was her first independent singles match on the independent scene. So I think that maybe, because Cody had a big part in that event, obviously. So when Cody came to the back, he was like, thank you so much for taking care of her, all that. And I think he was a big help in getting me that opportunity.
It really changed things for you, and shortly thereafter, you signed with Impact.
Literally like a month or two thereafter, Scott D'Amore actually messaged me on Twitter.
That's how you get in touch with people nowadays, I guess. So you come to Impact, and as you touched upon it, and that you had the opportunity to team with Jazz, an absolute legend in this business. And like we're talking about all these history-making moments, but that one just a chance to sit under the learning tree.
Man, you're bringing up stuff that I'm just like, wow, how have I not even like thought about that in a minute? It's just because there's so much stuff going on already right now. But she is just an amazing person to learn from and to take knowledge from. She's been wrestling for so long, And just to be able to team with her and learn from her, she definitely taught me to slow down a little bit. That was one of the first things that she told me, was just slow down and kind of connect with the audience more. And I definitely am very grateful for that opportunity too.
One of the things that makes you stand out is that you are a power lifter and a bodybuilder. And you and I were speaking before this, and that this is a relatively recent addition to your lifestyle. When did you first identify, I want to pursue this?
So, man, honestly, I've been lifting weights since I was very young, like 12 years old. But I've never pushed myself to the breaking point. And for the longest time, I had this gimmick that I was a powerhouse and I was the strongest there was, and kind of had imposter syndrome because I was strong, but I don't think that I was as strong as I claimed to be, and I wanted to be that. I wanted to be what I said I was. And so actually, during the pandemic, that's when I kind of started taking it very, very seriously, because I wanted to be the best, I wanted to be the strongest, and I didn't want there to be any doubt about that. So I started hitting the weights literally to the point where I'm sure there's a lot of people who've seen the video, I was deadlifting and I peed myself. Which
is very common, for the record, for bodybuilders
for the
and
record.
powerlifters.
But yeah, I just started to push myself, especially during the pandemic, because there was so much time that we had on our hands. So I started lifting really heavy. I got a powerlifting coach. I became a part of a powerlifting team, and they pushed me so freaking hard. You can't even imagine. And I really feel like if I'm not at my peak right now, then I don't know when I'm gonna be there, because I feel like I can lift anything and anybody right now.
And you talked about us pursuing this in the pandemic. I think you're referencing your husband, Jonathan Gresham. It's been really cool to see that you've both pursued this in terms of a fitness journey in lockstep with each other. And then I think the thing that's absolutely beautiful is you are his biggest cheerleader on social media. So how valuable was that to do that with him?
He's the best. I genuinely believe he's the best wrestler in the world, and he gets overlooked so much because of, height, race, certain things there, but I really feel like he's the best in the world, and he's also just one of my biggest motivators, because you can't really diet or work out the way you need to get to where we are without your significant other. It's very, very hard. And he's been the one that's been next to me this entire time, doing it with me. If I want a piece of cake, he's like, look at you don't need that right now. Like, we're on this diet, like, let's keep going. And so he's just really been like a huge inspiration to me.
And then the days where it's like, have the cake.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. We have a lot of cheat days too.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of social media, you're one of the most outspoken people I've ever seen on social media.
Yes.
Why do you feel so comfortable in that medium?
I honestly feel like for the majority of my career, the first part of it, I was just say yes or no all the time, and I wouldn't ever voice my opinion about certain things. And I think part of that was because I was young and immature. Like I said, I started wrestling when I was 14, so maybe I didn't know what was right or wrong, and these adults knew it was best. And now that I've kind of come into my own and I'm more mature now, I really feel strongly about certain things. I'm not afraid to speak my mind about those things.
What is a daily experience for you like on social media in terms of what you're receiving, I guess, in your mentions?
Oh. It's a huge range. It's very vast and diverse. Like, there's some people who really, really like me, and there's some people who just like absolutely hate me. And I don't think there's anything I could ever do to make them not hate me, whether it's for one reason or another. But there's all kinds of different things. There's negative comments, positive comments, like really crazy, weird comments that I try to ignore, but sometimes have to just retweet to be like, look, if I had to see this, then everybody has to see this.
You're not allowing those people to get away with that in a vacuum.
Yeah, exactly. And I definitely understand that there's a lot of troll accounts out there. But I think that my main goal with these troll accounts is that eventually, hopefully, they'll get suspended. And even if they make another one, it's still, a slight inconvenience to them, right?
I mean, we can only hope.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Also on the subject of social media, you're very outspoken about a subject that, frankly, it's become something that I don't know how often it really gets discussed publicly, but it's a recent movement in women's empowerment. Companies like Brand Army, et cetera, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, Patreon.
There you go. There's companies that female wrestlers like yourself and a number of other wrestlers have taken advantage of over the last few years, especially. In some companies at first were not okay with it, and it's just gotten a little bit more lax. It's this very fascinating response that you see on social media. And personally, I don't understand it, in that it appears to be a great opportunity for people to make money, and it's their chance to own who they are. But then the backlash is so derogatory, but also hypocritical. I don't even know how to break it down, but you live it.
Yeah, I definitely do. I honestly, it doesn't matter to me what the negative comments are, because I'm being able to basically make money and, you know, fund my 401k and save for retirement. And those are the things that are important to me. So no matter how many people make these negative comments, like, I can't worry about that. And I feel like if there's wrestlers out there who feel like these comments are affecting them, you just really have to focus on yourself. That's the main thing about it. You know, Patreon, Twitch, all these different platforms that we can make money on, we absolutely need to take advantage of it, because wrestling is finite. Like, we could be injured in our next match and be out of income for months and months and months. So we need to utilize these things and make as much money as we can in the short period of time that we're actually, what's the word, I guess, relevant to fans, and they want to buy these things. So I just think it's important for wrestlers to do that.
And there's also that portion of the audience, let's not forget, left over from the 90s, when women weren't being given the opportunities, the multitude of opportunities we talked about that you've received in your time in professional wrestling. That wasn't the case back then, and it seems like that audience is left over and participating, but also speaking out negatively. I don't understand it.
It's very hypocritical, and also I think they have to realize that a lot of these women, they didn't want to have to do these kind of things that they did. And the money that they were making is not an equivalent to what the company was making off of them. So a lot of those women back in the Attitude Era are now having to work basically regular jobs, when if they were able to utilize the platforms that we have now, they could have probably been saving for retirement, and they could have retired during that time. So that's just how personally I feel about that. I think it's extremely hypocritical. They want things for free from women, and I don't agree with that at all.
Couldn't agree anymore. You have an opportunity to make money, save for the future, 401k. Big question, how many dogs are in your house right now? Because it seems like this money you're making is to facilitate opening a small kennel in your house.
I think you're right. Like, honestly,
I'm a dog lover, so I love it.
We have 5 dogs now.
So many dogs.
It's
a lot of energy.
And they're all small dogs too. So 5 dogs, 2 cats. Honestly,
I didn't know about the cats.
Oh yeah, we have cats. They're more self-sufficient. No, nothing else. But the cats are self-sufficient. The dogs are absolutely insane. But I literally just posted this earlier. I was like, you know, eventually I'm just gonna open up get a farm and have like an animal sanctuary, because that's just apparently what I love to do, is just taking animals.
Grace and Gresham Animal Sanctuary.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, and we could do fundraisers, run wrestling events. That'd be great.
Copyright. That's mine. I want some royalties. Speaking of making money.
Delete this part so I can.
Well, listen, I really appreciate the time, and you know, the one thing that I think has been so great to see about your career as a professional wrestler is 2020, you win the Knockouts World title. You talked about it. You end the record streak of Taya Valkyrie, 377 days as champion. But now that you're champion again, it just seems like this Jordynne Grace as champion is completely different than the 2020 champion. What do you think?
Oh, I've been saying it again and again that it feels so different than the first time I had it. This is just, I don't feel like the same person I was at all during my first title run. I feel more confident. I feel like I've been working so hard, and that I've actually worked hard enough to deserve this title. So I feel very deserving of it, and it's just been a complete 180 for me, a complete change.
Thank you for joining us here on Outside the Ropes. She is the Knockouts World Champion, Jordynne Grace. I'm Tom Hannifan. We'll see you next time on Outside the Ropes.